Hi there, and welcome to Whole Dog Care podcast, helping you to live in natural harmony with your dog. I'm Lisa McCabe, your host, and today we have a fantastic guest. We have Renee from Awesome on 20 Kitchen Magic with us today, who is going to chat all about all the things that we love. So, hi, Renee, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, great. Thank you. So Renee, could you just introduce yourself and your business? Just tell us a wee bit about what you do.
Absolutely. My name is Renee. I am the creator of the food blog Awesome on 20 Kitchen Magic, which is, I like to say, it's a place to be for witches who love junk food. So, on this blog, I share recipes and witch tips, and it's all about not only eating food that is really awesome, but also connecting with your food on a more spiritual, metaphysical level. So, as a kitchen witch, I like to work in a lot of the metaphysical properties of the ingredients that I work with and just try to be a little bit more intentional and mindful in the kitchen.
Oh, that sounds amazing. So tell us about this term witch, because obviously there's a bit of kind of people maybe not know what it
Mhm.
means exactly. So people maybe think back to the days when people are being burnt at the stake and stuff like that. So tell us exactly what it means to be a modern day witch.
Absolutely. Witchcraft today definitely does have its roots in our pagan past, going way, way back to the ways that people used to connect with nature, with natural elements, with nature worship to a certain extent, but just living in harmony with the world around them. But as a modern witch, I like to combine the resources and the knowledge that we have available to us in the 21st century with some of the traditions and ideals that have been passed down and sometimes, overlooked or pushed aside by modern science. I still very much believe in science,
Yeah.
um, but I like to incorporate some more natural elements into my belief systems and my everyday life as well. People, they hear the word witch and they think of, horror movies or
Yeah.
even children's stories or the Wizard of Oz, right? The black pointed hat and the witch is always evil. But I mean, I can't speak for every witch, but all the witches that I know today they're just really lovely people who want to create positive vibrations, good feelings, and they just want people to be happy.
So how did you get into this? What was your calling that brought you here?
Yeah, it's kind of an unusual story because a lot of people get into witchcraft when they're much younger, but I actually didn't learn about it until I was 40 years old. So I found out that there were seemingly normal academic authors, well respected human beings who were practicing witchcraft by hearing about it on a news podcast, actually. And I was
Oh,
like, these people are, like I said, published authors. They're really smart. They're academics. They're not crazy, cuckoo
yeah.
conspiracy theorists. And I was just instantly fascinated. I'd always loved, I'm a big Harry Potter fan. I've always been interested in meditation, yoga, essential oils, stuff like that. So I was dabbling around the edges of witchcraft without really knowing that it existed. But as soon as I heard about it and started reading up on what it was, I was immediately hooked. I wanted to follow the cycles of the moon and the wheel of the year and throw out every calendar I'd ever had, and I was instantly in.
Yeah, I think, for me, that it's been a recent sort of revelation for me that I'm a witch too.
Uh-huh.
But, when I started reading up on it, I was like, holy crap, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's me. That's what I live my life. And I think, as you say, it, it's normal people. It's not, freaks with big noses and,
Mm-hmm.
like pointy fingers and all that. It's just normal people looking to work with what nature's provided us with to follow whatever our passions are. I mean, obviously yours is your cooking, which is awesome. I mean, like some of the pictures and the recipes that you've shared. Actually, I have to tell you about a triumph that I've had, which was inspired by you. As we know, we had the chat about pumpkin, and I'm going, how the heck do you get the flesh out this pumpkin? You're like, yeah, just buy canned, which I didn't even know existed.
I do not bother.
And last night I actually made spiced pumpkin and peanut butter soup, and I make it every year. I try to recreate a recipe that we had on a wine tour years ago, and last night my husband was like, that's a total triumph. Now I'm kind of following on from having COVID last week, so I can't taste or smell anything, but he said
Oh no. I'm sure it was great. It sounds fantastic.
No, he said it was really good. So tell us more about like your work, like your food and stuff, because I say your recipes and your photography is just awesome. So tell us more about that.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I started getting into cooking in my early 20s, when I didn't have much money. I had a baby at home, and prior to this had just kind of always eaten stuff that came in a box or out of a drive-through window. And I was like, I became obsessed with the Food Network. But this was back in the day when they actually had instructional shows on how to learn how to cook. So everything I know about cooking, I learned from the Food Network. And I just found that looking at a piece of paper, seeing a recipe, and then turning it into something that was such a delicious experience, right? It's got all of your senses involved. It looks beautiful, it smells beautiful, it sounds beautiful, and it tastes beautiful. um, it was magical. And then when I started learning about witchcraft and alchemy and the vibrations, right, the energy that's present in everything, and I read that you could become a kitchen witch, I was like, I've already been doing this. As you said, Lisa, a lot of people, they say you don't become a witch, you discover that you always were one.
Yeah.
So combining witchcraft with my love of being in the kitchen was just such a perfect fit, because it really is a way to not only change your energy as the cook, but when you get to share that with other people, they can feel the love and care that you've put into it. So it's the perfect combination. You can probably tell from my accent that I am not Scottish. I'm originally from the US. And so a lot of my food is more American comfort food. I'm a bit of an obnoxious, picky eater. So I only like to share recipes that me and my husband feel are truly awesome. If it's not something that you want to eat again and again, it doesn't make the list. So
Yeah, I mean that's it. You can tell when food's been made with love. It tastes good, it looks good. Whereas if you've just bashed something together quite quickly, it's just rubbish. And I think that comes across in a lot of what you do, a lot of your recipes. You just look at them, you just think, oh my god, that looks amazing. There's a lot that I've earmarked. Obviously my passion is dogs, but sorry, Zach is jumping up on me. But I do love to cook as well. I'm a feeder. I love feeding people. But a lot of what I do as well is with the cooking with the dogs. My dogs are totally spoiled. Everything is home cooked, more from a health perspective, so that I knew exactly what was going into their bodies, so that I could help them. So obviously you make lots of beautiful, tasty food. So how do you maintain your health on top of that as well, so that you're not eating too much rubbish?
Well, I have to say I'm probably not the best person to look to for nutrition advice. I will admit I have been blessed with good genes. That means I haven't had to work too hard to like maintain my weight and things like that. But I do really, especially when it comes to the sweets that I make for the blog, I try to share it. I try to get it out of the house as much as possible. During the COVID years when we weren't allowed to go anywhere, and then even when we did go back to work, we weren't allowed to we weren't allowed to share food that wasn't prepackaged, which made me so sad. And so I was making a cake, and then we'd have to eat the whole cake by ourselves. So I'm always looking for places to take my treats to so that I can share them with other people and they can have the joy of eating them, but also so that I don't have to eat them all myself.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I'm like that too. If we make a cake or something in this house, it's like, right, who can I take a bit to? Because I don't
Yeah,
want to eat it all
exactly.
myself.
And of course, the great thing about having a dog is that you have to keep moving.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, having a pet, especially a dog, is a really good way to, get your steps up, get outside, get some exercise so that you're not just, eating something delicious and indulgent and then sitting on the sofa for the rest of the day.
definitely, yeah, 100%. And obviously, with it being this time of year, I thought it would be really cool to get you on in October, with the time of the Halloween coming and stuff, and that's a really kind of special time, I suppose, for witches.
Mhm.
So, just what's like, do you have traditions or things that you do around about this time of year just to celebrate?
Yeah, in the witchcraft community, Halloween is also known as Samhain. It's spelled Samhain and it's pronounced Samhain. If you've just seen that word written down, you may not
Never
know how
known
to
how to
say it.
say it properly, so that's good.
Yeah, it's not something I knew. I had to look it up myself and learn from other witches, but it's known as the witches' New Year, so it's kind of what is seen as the start of the wheel of the year.
Okay.
Of course, it's a wheel, it's a circle, and a circle has no beginning and no end. But if you did want to mark a start and finish of the wheel of the year, Samhain is the one that people tend to go for. Um, and this is also a time where it's said that the veil between worlds is thin.
Okay.
So, if you are the kind of person who has a connection to spirits or to your past ancestors, you might feel them a little bit more closely to you. But even if that's not something that you have a sense for, not everyone does, it's not a strong sense with me, you can still be intentional about honoring your ancestors at this time of year, about thinking about the people who have gone before, all of the many, many thousands of people over time who have had to survive in order for you to be here right now. And for every Sabbath, which is the word for a witchy holiday, I love to have a feast if I can. So there are different foods that correspond to different seasons. Of course, at Samhain, it's things like pumpkin and apple, root vegetables, all of that really delicious
All the comfort stuff.
autumnal food that, things cooked in big pots, soups and chili, stews, stuff like that. So if you wanted to gather with your friends and family for Samhain, maybe bring something that is a reminder of one of your ancestors. If you have photos or maybe an heirloom, a piece of jewelry or something that's been passed down to you, you can just build a little sort of temporary altar, a little space where you honor them for that night. Maybe you raise a glass to them, or maybe you set a place that represents the space for your ancestors at your feast. And that's a really lovely way to connect the past with the future.
Yeah, it is. That's also. Yeah, no, that's just such a lovely kind of thought, a lovely way of bringing it rather than as you say, the thoughts of like the horror movies and stuff. It's more about sharing the love and
Mhm.
the people that have gone before us, and that's actually a really lovely thing to think about. Oh, excuse me, this puppy. He just thinks the world revolves around him. So is with your cooking and stuff, I'm assuming it's very like cyclical. You work with whatever's in season.
Yeah, I do my best. As a food blogger, I'm usually working a couple of months ahead of time. So
Okay.
it's early mid October right now, and I'm actually doing all of my content for November. So I'm not that far ahead, but I do have to work a little bit ahead. But yeah, I try to keep the recipes that I share seasonal, but also really approachable. I'm kind of lazy. And so if something takes really a lot of effort, especially to like make dinner when you get home from work on a Tuesday night, it's probably not going to make the list. There are a few things that are a little bit more weekend projects, slow cooking, but a lot of the stuff is really simple with easy to access ingredients. Again, if you have to go to 5 different shops to find all the ingredients for a recipe, you're probably not going to make it. So there are options for making it as easy or as complex as you want. But yeah, trying to be mindful of what's in season, what is practical for you to obtain, and what is going to celebrate what's happening, outside your window at that time of year as well.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And where can people find you? Like, I know obviously you do your blog, but is there a book or anything in the offing, or what's the plans?
I don't have a book. Everybody keeps saying, when are you going to write a book? Well, when a publisher offers me a bunch of money to write a book, because it's really a lot of work. But there are hundreds of recipes on my website available for free. So you can just go there and get those recipes, search for whatever you're looking for. I do have a Patreon group where I sometimes will post exclusive recipes there. If you're one of those people who's like, I hate food blogs because you have to scroll down, you can also get ad-free and context-free recipes through my Patreon. So that is accessible to people if you're like, oh, I just can't be bothered. Really, it's fine. You can take the 5 seconds to scroll for a free recipe, probably. But yeah, it's all for free on my website at the moment.
Oh, fabulous. And I suppose the other thing that I wanted to ask you about, if there's people like out there like me who think they might be a witch but aren't very sure about it. I mean, obviously, like I came to you and it was like total revelation. It was like, oh my God, yeah, that's me. So do you work with people in that sort of sense as well? Like, can you guide people? Like, can they come to you?
Yeah, definitely. So I have a couple of other projects and other aspects of my business as well. So I co-host the Coven of Awesomeness podcast, and on there we share a lot of information that is really helpful for new witches or people who are witch curious. It is about everyday life and everyday well-being through the lens of witchcraft. So it's not strictly a witchcraft podcast, but if you're somebody who wants to learn more about what it means to live as a modern witch, this is a great way to do it because it's hosted by me and my friend who, like I said before, are just really normal people out here living our normal lives, but we're witches all the time, not just when we're at our altars or doing spells. And then the other side of my business is Sagittarian Tarot and coaching. So I also offer tarot readings for people, as well as spiritual coaching where I craft spells for people. And I have witchcraft workshops and events as well. So if you're wanting to come along either online or in person, if you're in the Glasgow area, to learn a little bit more about certain aspects of witchcraft, I offer workshops over there.
That sounds fantastic. Can you tell people where they can find you?
Yeah, if you're looking for recipes and witch tips, you can find that at awesomeon20. That's the numbers 20.com, awesomeon20.com. I am mainly on Instagram for social media. That's the best place to find me. That is Renee_awesomeon20. If you're interested in learning more about witchcraft, you can find out more at sagittariantarot.com or Sagittarian Tarot on Instagram.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Renee. That's been an amazing insight into just witchcraft and also into your amazing food and how to kind of feed yourself kind of guilt-free. And yeah, just that witches are normal people. So thank you so much for joining me today. And yeah, take care. Thank you.
Thank you.